Welcome to the Carl B. Phillips Show, hosted by gospel music industry veteran, recording artist, songwriter, producer, radio announcer, and actor, Carl B. Phillips. Join Carl as he talks with gospel recording artists, producers, songwriters, pastors, and other creatives about music, ministry, and life. Get ready for another great conversation on the Carl B. Phillips Show.
This week's guest on the Carl B. Phillips Show, gospel recording artist and songwriter, Jason Clayborn. Welcome to the Carl B. Phillips Show. Today's guest, I've been waiting to interview this man for over a year, and I finally have the opportunity to do it. He is a Stellar Award nominee. He has written songs for artists including Hezekiah Walker and Ricky Dillard. He's also the founder of the Atmosphere Changers. Please help me welcome Jason Clayborn. What's up, man?
What's up, Carl, man? Listen, I told you before we started, I said, man, you should have called me, man. Hit me up. I'm very accessible, man. I'm grateful and honored to be on your show, man.
Oh, man, you don't know how excited I am to see you, to have you on here. So I'm going to share something else with you. I'm also an indie artist. So I was on Apple Music, and I'm saying, let me look at the similar artists to what I do. And guess whose name came up?
For real?
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Sometimes, you got, when you're working in ministry and you're working and you're doing what you're doing, you got your head down in it, and you just want to give what God puts on your heart to the people, man. So I'm honored, man. It's an honor. I'm very honored.
Yeah, man. I was kind of shocked. I mean, it was looking like Jason Clayborn and Atmosphere Changers are similar artists to what I do. I'm like, oh, okay.
That's dope. That's dope. I love it.
All right. Now, as I told you, I'm going to ask a couple of random questions.
Okay.
First random question. Name something super random that's made you happy in the last week.
Super random. It's made me happy in the last week. Oh, my son's basketball game last night. They won, man. And they're at the end of their season. And I got to see all of the players play in the game. Normally he has about seven or eight players that he rotates, which is about 16 players on the bench. But everybody played last night, and they won the game by like 20. It was crazy last night. So he plays a JV team at his middle school, and that's something that was random that happened last night. And watching him being excited about winning gave me joy.
Wow. So do you play basketball also? Did he get his skills?
Man, I play football.
Okay.
And then I play basketball, street ball with your friends and stuff. You go to I play for fun, but it was never something that I thought I would be playing in school. That's why when my son is really good in ball, I looked over at my wife. I said, "Are you sure that's my son?" Because he don't want to sing. He don't want to write. He don't want to do none of that. He wants to play ball. And I said, well, that's what he wants to do. I don't pressure my kids into, doing what I do. So,
as I was saying, I didn't know about your family from your bio. So talk about what it means to you to be a family man.
Man, you know what? I'm grateful. I come from a big family. It's 6 of us. 3 boys, 3 girls. They all are in ministry and sing and play instruments at churches all around Louisville, Kentucky. Then I'm married. I don't know if you remember the guy. He was an independent artist for a long time. Wrote for Marvin Sapp, Jonathan Dunn. Mm-hmm. Jonathan Dunn. So I married a Dunn girl, which was Jonathan Dunn's brother's daughter.
Okay.
So I'm married into a singing family as well. So the Dunn sisters and my family, the Clayborns and the Raymores, it was just music everywhere. So man, I'm enjoying being a husband, man. It took some time for me to learn. I've been married 13, going on 14 years now. And learning order of where you should place your family. I was doing an interview today with my media team for some stuff I'm gonna post, and learning order. I had it God, I had God, church, artistry, and family.
Mm-hmm.
And God had to get me in order
Right.
and say, wait a minute, you have it backwards. It needs to be God, family, church, and then artistry. And once I found out what the order and why it needed to be like that, the Lord has blown my mind. You know,
Right.
I've been able to work with some of the biggest artists in the world, travel with them, sing with them. A lot of people don't know I traveled with Dr. Ron Canoli for the last maybe 12 to 15 years. He's like a father to me.
Mm-hmm.
And most Black gospel artists and churches don't know who he is.
So you answer my questions now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about your traveling with Dr. Canoli in a little bit.
Cool. So being a family man, let me get back to your question. I'm enjoying it, and it's teaching me. I tell people a lot of times when you get married, from being a bachelor and living on your own, you start to learn more about yourself. And my wife has been a big part of even bettering my relationship with my kids and just teaching me, order in my home.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm grateful, man. I'm grateful.
A lot of times as artists, we think that it's all about the music, and like you said, family comes later, but you have to have that. I call it now. You have to have that church life balance. In the business world, they talk about work-life balance, but you have to have church life balance. So I think it's important that you do have that, and that you've learned how to have that balance. When you think of the balance, what was one of the things that your wife taught you that was like, uh-oh, I better do this?
You know what? It was when she kind of backed away from singing.
Okay.
And focused on just living life.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to press, like, why don't you want to sing no more? You can lead. You're good in the studio. She said, I don't have the zeal to do that. That's your thing. So it started making me pay attention to home.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I come home from church, or I come home off the road working. So, okay, that was good. I'm glad you had a good time. Do you take the trash out?
Reality.
Yeah. Okay. We got to go grocery shopping tomorrow, and JCon has this happening, and my daughter's name is Nashaya, but we call her Piggy. Piggy has this going on. You got to pick her up from school. You got to do this. This is your job in the morning. Your job is while she's getting ready for work. My wife, I got to make sure that my son's up and ready, and he's got breakfast, and I take him to the bus stop. So learning that balance of those are the important things.
It reminds me of something I've been seeing on social media lately, where they talk about you go from this to this. I don't know if you've seen those posts, but that sounds like you go from being in Italy to taking the garbage out.
Absolutely. And realizing that that's an honor.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to, God honors those that take care of their families, and that's an honor. Okay, cool. Let me go do that. There's honor in that, not just getting the accolades of being able to be on stage and to be nominated for Grammys and all that good stuff. That's good. But knowing the order creates the favor.
Right.
You get it out of order, and you miss seasons, or you miss favor that should have been given to you in a season, in another season. Like the children of Israel walking around in the wilderness for 40 years when it was really only 100 and some miles away. It took them 40 years to get to a place that was 100 miles away, over a little bit over 100 miles, because they were listening and paying attention, and their focus was off.
Right.
So I'm enjoying, learning how to be a better husband and just be a better man, period. And it's growing me, it's teaching me, and I'm learning and growing daily, man. And I'm grateful for it.
I know a lot of times those of us that are in music ministry and those of us that are creatives, we don't know how to stop.
Mm-hmm.
When did you learn, Jason, you need to stop?
Let me tell you, my pastor, I've been in my church now 21 years. And I just took over 11 months ago as now the executive minister of music at the St. Stephen Baptist Church here in Louisville, Kentucky. Reverend Dr. Kevin W. Cosby is my pastor.
Mhm.
And he told me, he was preaching, and he said, you know, you have to learn how to divert daily, get away weekly, and go away annually.
Wow.
And at first I was like, what? I wrote it in my phone. It's still in my phone years later. Divert daily. Take some time for yourself where you're not listening to no music. You zen out, or you watch a movie, or you go eat your favorite food and sit down at that table and no distractions.
Mhm.
You know, spend some time with your family. Then get away, go away weekly. So find something to do. Take your wife out to dinner, take your family out to dinner, go to the movies, go bowling, go to a game, you know, do something, and then go away annually. You know what? Our white brothers and sisters, they do that.
Mhm.
They do that from the white church. And because I work with a lot of them, they take time to go on vacation. And there's different modes of vacation. There's your intermediate family vacation, where it's you and your wife, your kids. And then there's a vacation where you go as a bigger, you know, as your larger family, or you take a vacation with all your friends,
Right.
you know, and learning how to do that 2 or 3 times a year, you know, because it helps your mental, and it helps you your clarity of mind when you get back into your writing and your artistry.
One thing that I found, because I was that person, my vacation time was church conventions, gospel music workshop, somebody's
Did the
convention.
same thing. Did the
And
same
a
thing.
few years ago, I came to the realization that I needed to discover the world. So
Yeah.
my goal was to visit all 50 states. So I decided, I was church organization, I was our national minister. He was like, I won't step away because I'm not going to spend 2 weeks of my vacation at a convention. So I
Yeah.
decided I wanted to just travel. And the thing that I found in traveling, I don't know if you've experienced this, but sometimes I can be somewhere and I can see something different, and it becomes a song.
All the time. It never fails. The Lord, from being in another state or being in another country, God always lets me experience something to where I put a song. It could be a chorus, or it could be a song title that even he don't give me the full song until months or years later.
Right.
You know, it's interesting. It was funny. And I know I don't want to get into your questions, but people don't know I wrote I Survived It for Ricky Dillard before Better. Like it was already in the queue, sitting in an email, you know, and Better had came out and blew up. And Ricky called me and said, nephew, you're going to write all the hit songs for your godfather and not give me anything? And I had to tell him, go back to your email from 2013. I sent you songs. And in that email was I Survived It.
Now, didn't Jason McGee also do that?
Yes. So let me tell you what happened with that. Ooh, you're getting a little sticky in there. Okay, so I like it. You know, also too, learning how to be a businessman and how to make sure that you learn the business. I'm glad that the Lord brought me in as a songwriter, and you know, and then moved me into the artistry, because it taught me percentages and publishing and writers and all that stuff, how to work it. And thank God for Donald Lawrence and him teaching me how to maneuver in the game. But when Jason McGee had recorded that, I kept reaching out to, you know, Warren and them, and I never got any paperwork, or nobody would call me back.
Mhm.
So, you know, a song that I don't get you know, we haven't done any paperwork on, that song is open for anybody.
Right.
You know, so I sent it to Ricky Dillard. That night of the recording, it went crazy, not realizing that Tina and Teddy were in the room.
Mhm.
So when they were in the room, they must have got called Warren and their team. And after the recording is when they called me.
Was that the
So,
recording in DC when
yep.
I was there?
And guess what? Let me tell you what don't nobody know. I gave Ricky I Got the Victory and I Survived It, both of the singles for that record.
Oh, wow.
I Got the Victory was recorded, written by one of my best friends, Jesse Williams from St. Louis, who was one of the worship leaders at my church at that time. And the women's choir from my church recorded that song before Ricky recorded it.
What's her name? Ashley.
Man, my sister. I literally just I have not deleted her number from my phone, but I just stopped following her on Instagram. I had one of the closest people in my life.
I had a chance to see her sing it in one weekend. I was at the Stellars, and she did it in a showcase, and fell in love with the song.
Yeah,
I love
funny.
Lillian, but Ashley, yeah,
she killed it.
Yeah,
but if people paid attention, that If You Got It, 3 other artists had tried to make that big. Jonathan Nelson, Vashon. Jonathan Nelson and them did it with what is the fellowship that William Murphy's with? Full Gospel.
Full Gospel, okay.
They did that tag on the Full Gospel record. And then Vashon did the tag on one of his albums. And the tag didn't really hit until Ashley did it, and then it blew up when Ricky took it over.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, you have been around. I guess I do need to get into some of my questions, though. You talked about having 6 siblings. How do you define the relationship between you and your siblings?
Man, we're so close, man. They've sang on my records. My brother produced 2 of my independent albums. My sisters, 2 of them, 3 of them just went to Italy went to Paris. I took them to Paris with me about 2 months ago. They're all worship leaders. They all sing. Actually, my middle sister is YPJ's worship leader.
Okay.
And my baby sister, she's about to go on tour with October London.
Wow. And
then my sister Daria, she's an incredible. She's got that gift like Leandria and them have, man. Just anointed, man, on a whole nother page. And that's the girl that's singing on my song "God Made It Beautiful." That's my sister, Daria.
Of all the siblings, which one is the bossiest?
Daria, the oldest girl.
Okay.
The oldest girl would be the bossiest. My brother after me is kind of bossy too. Like you could tell him something and he'll be like, okay, whatever, but this is what we're gonna do. And I'm like, man, I'm the oldest, you know. But I help raise them. I'm like a brother, father to them, so they look at me like that, and they take heed. They listen to what I'm saying. My baby sister's birthday was about a week ago, and she thanked me for helping raise her. And now she's about to go on tour. She got the call Sunday to sing background for October London, so she's on her way on tour.
When you all have a family gathering, what is that like when everybody, especially if there's a piano in the house?
Oh, hilarious and fun, singing, and we do all time. Christmas time, we singing Christmas churchy songs. Thanksgiving, we figure it out. Here lately, we haven't really been singing. It's been more just playing games and kicking it. You know, as we're getting older, I don't think we've sang as much, but it's a song that ends up coming somewhere. Always.
Will there ever be a family album with all of y'all on it?
You are the millionth person that have asked me that, and I would say yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say yes. I would say yes. That's something that has been on my brain for a while.
Speaking of family, in reading your bio, you talk a lot about your grandmother, Wilma Clayborn. What was her history in the area that you're in when it comes to gospel music?
Legend. GOAT. Had the first record store, gospel music record store. Nobody else sold gospel music records in the city and studio.
Mm-hmm.
Before anybody knew people knew who John P. Key was, but he wrote and recorded some of the first songs that he had written in my grandmother's studio.
Wow.
He'll tell everybody he used to come to Louisville to sell dope and write songs in my grandmother's studio.
Wow.
First lady DJ in our city, in our state. Just a legend. We would not be doing. She's who introduced us to the Thomas Dorsey Convention, the National Convention of Gospel Choirs and Courses, which we still go to till this day. I'm over the young adult department at that convention, still to this day.
Okay, so you just took away another one of my questions, but I'm okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's the way you segue in, and you got my brain rolling.
Well,
yes.
Well, while we're there, you're talking about the convention. A lot of choir conventions kind of get stuck, but you have kept the youth of that convention alive. What does that mean to you to know that you're impacting another generation through this particular convention?
I think it's keeping my ear to the gospel music streets and how it has evolved over the last 20 years. I've been a part of different eras of gospel music in some way. I've been in the fabric of it. Before Christian hip hop blew up, I started with a Christian hip hop group called the Righteous Riders.
You back to my questions again.
I'm sorry.
You're fine.
So I've been in the fabric of gospel music, and I've always been in choir and love choirs. And my mom had a big youth choir in my city, and she took us and traveled. And she was friends with Hezekiah and Donald and Ricky and them before anybody knew who they were. They weren't legends yet. They were still, in their 20s.
Right.
Donald was living in Cincinnati. You know what I mean? He wasn't even in North Carolina yet. And so my mom had me as a young kid around these guys and around these legends before they knew that they were going to be legends. So I'm grateful to have my ear to the ground, to pay attention to how music has evolved, to stay connected to the GOATs that have had longevity, but also to be connected to the new age sound that's happening and learning how to mesh both of them together to create a whole new sound. And people are like, wait a minute, we ain't heard this before. This is fresh. And so being at National, being around so many gifted and talented songwriters, and I want to say this, and I'm going to say this, and I stick to this on every podcast or interview I do. Almost 85% of the songs that you sing in church have come from the National Convention of Gospel Choirs and Courses, the songwriters.
I'm grateful. When the convention was here in Detroit a couple of years ago, I had an opportunity for the Detroit chapter to sing a song that I wrote. And it meant a lot to me because I remember as a young person, I sung with Donald Vail's Voices of Deliverance.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Had an opportunity to go to Chicago for the convention, and Thomas Dorsey was still alive. So to be, he was in a wheelchair, but I just remember we were up singing. I'm just watching him. We were a young choir, but he was still supporting us. I'll never forget those memories to see who we call the father of gospel music pushing us on.
Yeah, man. I tell people, you can't build a house without a foundation.
Right. And
so to have those foundational pieces and still be connected to it, it keeps my roots locked in to, and then I'm able to share that with other young people and young adults that, hey, now, do you know who the father of gospel music is? And when people say Kirk Franklin, I'm like, man, you gotta, like, what?
He's an unk.
He's an unk. Yeah. I'm like, nah, he's an unk. He's not a father, And so I'm grateful to be able to stay connected to the roots, which keeps me grounded on what gospel music should feel and should sound like.
Speaking of being connected to roots, I was having a conversation with Bishop Andre Woods, and Bishop Woods and I, we were talking about. I was telling him about some of my favorite artists, and I mentioned Jason Clayborn, and he lit up and started talking about, well, I know his family, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, yeah, man, that's my dog, man. It's crazy, but sometimes it's surreal to me because there's a regular hip hop group called they're called UGK. They're called the Underground Kings, and everybody knows who they are. They blew up, but they didn't blow up as big as some artists, but people love them. And I feel I always reference myself as a UGK style artist where everybody know me. Everybody know I've written some or worked with them or been a part. They've been around my family. So I'm grateful that we've had that impact on gospel music.
You brought up an interesting point about it's important for my generation, your generation, to make sure that we're teaching the next generation. One of the things that I find myself doing now, I want to teach the 20 years old like you, the business side. To hear Kirk Franklin say he didn't own publishing to take me to the king, or like you said, you knew nothing about publishing. You know nothing about things like that. So I think it's important that we share with these young artists coming along. Hey, you need your publishing. You need to invest in owning your own publishing company. I had in the last few years, I've learned split sheets, and you don't leave out the studio until your split sheet is done.
Yeah.
Is it a work for hire? We need to teach the next generation the business side. It's not all ministry.
No, it's and so many people, even talking to major artists that have been duped for years. I never forget before I worked with Jason Nelson on a song, he introduced me because I have been sending songs to everybody, but he introduced me to a guy. He was like, yo, this is Jason Clayborn. This is one of the best songwriters in our industry who you probably won't get none of his publishing. Or if you do, you're going to have to deal with his lawyers and everybody. But, I'm grateful because, you have to learn how to also, too, make it a business for you so that it can create and generate wealth for your family.
Yeah.
It's a business and it's ministry and business. And you got to learn that line so that you can make sure that your gift is making room for you.
Yeah. I share with young songwriters, Berry Gordy. That's a Berry Gordy sold his publishing for $80 million. $80 million. Or Michael Jackson bought the Beatles publishing.
Yeah.
Publishing, you get one good hit, even though those checks may come in every 3 months. But
listen, let me tell you something. When I wrote Better for a whole year, it was number one straight, maybe 20 weeks on Billboard. That's almost half the year straight. And my wife was like, man, when we going to see some money from this? I said, hey, ho. I said, wait a minute. I said, it's got to accumulate for that year. I said, but when March hits the following year, you'll see it. And I'll never forget, I was laying in the bed and how you get up on Friday and you check your account to see what bills have come out and what. I said, oh, cool, I'll check my account. I got a little bit stored. And that direct deposit hit from that first and second quarter of Better. And I shook my wife. She said, what? And I showed her my account. She said, what? Somebody didn't, they put some money in your account and didn't. I said, no, this is from Better alone. She said, okay, cool. So we getting a new refrigerator today. We getting a couch. We're going to go buy a TV. You're going to put this money up. You can take this. We're going to do a little shopping. We're going to get a new washer and dryer. And she had that money planned out. And then she told me, she said, keep writing.
So she finally saw what writing can do.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Earlier, you talked about doing international tours with Dr. Ron Canole. To me, he is one of the architects of worship music. What
Hands
are
down.
some of the lessons you've learned from being around Dr. Ron Canole?
I never forget the first tour I did with him was the Perfect Gift tour. It was a states tour. We did maybe about 15 to 20 cities. And my mom and her friend had drove me to Nashville where we were rehearsing. It's the first time I met him. I met him through his sons, Bingo and Sam, and the Canole brothers. And so I got in the room and I was doing all these riffs and runs, and he said, "Stop! I don't want all that." He said, "Sing it plain."
Wow.
And tears got in my eyes, and I'm like, "Oh my God, I done messed up." He said, "Just sing it, man. Sing it regular." And I started singing it, and he closed his eyes, and I never forget, tears started streaming down his face. And he said, "That's where your oil is."
Wow.
He said, "It's not in all your acrobatics." And ever since that day, I never forgot that. And he taught me stage presence. He taught me what it is to be a worship leader. He taught me what it is to how to work a crowd and how to move a crowd, not just in the States, but in 14 other different countries. I traveled with Dr. Canole in different seasons. I traveled with him singing, and I traveled with him as performing in his play, The Perfect Gift. Then I traveled with him singing background as an artist, and then I traveled with him as an armor bearer. The last segment of when he was going to teach and things of that nature. I mean, he's still traveling, and he's been a little sick here lately, but yeah, man, it was life-changing for me. I filled up my passport book traveling with Dr. Canole, and I've never taken a passport book to a passport office and them add papers because I didn't have any more room for stamps.
That is a blessing. I remember reading his book, and one of the things that stood out to me was sometimes you have to do a concert for one. I don't know if you've ever shared that with you.
Absolutely. Yes.
When you think of that concert for one, what does that saying mean to you now that you've had a chance to be around Dr. Canole?
Understanding that it's that personal relationship is what makes it the most important thing. Is if you're locked in with him, he'll handle all of this. So as you sing to him, that's the words say. He said, "If I be lifted up, I draw all men." He didn't tell you to do the drawing. He told you to lift him. He said, "If I be lifted up." So our job is to lift him and to get into his presence, and he'll draw. And so that's that audience of one. That's making sure that you're in tune. And that takes not just your singing ability. We on tour with him, we had Bible study every day.
Wow.
We studied the word, you know what I mean? We made sure that, you know, he made sure that it was the relational part of what we do was the most important thing.
When you think about that relational part, how do you, we talked earlier about, you know, you're working with young people, the next generation. How do you share that wisdom with them from things that you've learned from Dr. Canole?
So it's crazy because I have a saying now that I'm not just concerned about your gift, but I'm concerned about your life. And I've stuck with that working with youth for the last 20 plus years, is that I want you to understand that this is a lifestyle. It's not just singing. Being a Christian is a lifestyle. You have to grow into living this thing. You're not going to be perfect at it, but you have to strive to develop your relationship with God, to strengthen your spirit, man, and so that you can be able to deal with all the foolishness that we have to deal with in the natural. So if your spirit man is strong, it'll help you make better decisions in the natural. So I think that that's one thing is I've met a lot of gifted people that'll look at me and be like, why do you get these opportunities, or how do you get this opportunity? And I said, because I learned early on, hanging with, going to prayer with prophets in the middle of the day, when nobody saw me, meeting prophets daily to pray in the middle of the day in the summer. Or I would leave college and come down for the weekend and spend time with prophets that would speak into my life. These are things that nobody saw in my growth process in my early 20s until now. Some of them have gone on to be with the Lord, but it has taught me, things that had a prophet tell me early 2000s. She's gone on to be with the Lord. She was married to the bishop of the church we were at. Her name is Mother Malley. She told me in the back hallway, you got albums in your belly.
Wow.
And I looked at her and I was like, albums? I'm looking down at my belly like, what are you talking about? Not knowing that years later I would produce albums and have songs that would be sung around the world. And this was early 2000s before everything started taking off. And so learning how to pay attention to your discernment and listening and paying attention and knowing when to say no and knowing when to say yes and making sure, making right decisions. It's all a part of the process of growing as a Christian. It's important, I
definitely agree, because I think sometimes we get so caught up in the artistry, we forget about the ministry.
Yeah.
And I've also learned that a lot of time ministry starts after amen.
Come on. And you know what? I'm glad you said that, because even to all the artists that are wanting to do this or that are striving to do this, if you focus on just your gift, you will turn into brass and tingling cymbal. Go look it up in the word. You won't, what makes your praise and what makes your artistry more have more depth and more anointing is what receives that word to be like a sweet smelling incense to the nostrils of God is the fact that the relational piece is what locks you into that. And what is that? Prayer, getting on your face before the Lord, spending time with God. That's what gives your artistry and your writing oil. Not your giftedness is not what gives you oil. R. Kelly had oil. He just chose to use it for a different kingdom.
Right.
Michael Jackson had oil. He just chose to use it for where he was at. And so, you have to understand, like the Richard Smallwoods. I have an email. It's crazy. No, a Facebook message I got somewhere saved in one of my phones where Richard Smallwood, when You're All I Need came out, asked me to write him a You're All I Need.
Wow.
Richard, the maestro himself. I haven't even told this story on social media because I didn't want to make it seem like I was trying to get accolades. But I have a Facebook message from Richard Smallwood where he asked me to write him a You're All I Need.
Man.
The maestro himself. And it shocked me because I thought somebody was playing. I said, is this really? He said, boy, quit playing with me. This is me. So, I mean, just moments like that where it Donald Lawrence told me this because I was, and when You're All I Need came out, and I just knew that was my moment. I was like, oh my God, everybody. And You're All I Need wasn't even a single. You're All I Need was track 9 on the Sold Out album. The 2 songs that were singles on that record was God Favored Me and Sold Out.
Right.
I'm getting to something. If God's hand is on it, it don't matter if it's on the radio. And radio was playing it, had started playing it like it was a single. That's when I started realizing what the publishing checks and things were, because I started getting checks in the mail. I'm like, but I just wrote the song for the record. It ain't the single, but churches were singing it. and radio stations. And, you know, a lot of the radio reps like yourself were ministers of music and choir directors, and they were teaching it, and they started playing it on the radio, and I started getting checks from it. And that's when I thought it was my moment. And for 8 years after that, I was sending songs to everybody, and no major artist picked any of my songs.
I don't think people understand, because I'm like you as a songwriter, where you're sending stuff out, you're pushing stuff to people, and all you get is rejections.
Yeah,
that's if anybody even responds to you, you know.
right,
It's
right.
a hurtful
I tell
feeling.
people, yeah. I said, man, I was like, what happened? I thought everybody loved my music. I don't know if this ain't the right thing, or I don't know, maybe no. I got a booklet somewhere in my archives with all the artists I sent songs to, and I sent them to everybody. And at that moment, Sunday's Best was big. So Jessica Reedy and Marvin Sapp and Latisse Crawford, I was sending songs to everybody because I was like, oh man, people know my music. I got this one big hit. Not until Better 8 years later is when everybody started asking me for material.
You know, something that God impressed upon me, and it made sense. He's like, your anointing can't go everywhere. So some of the songs that he gave me, I had to do them. I had to put them out.
Sure did.
Yeah.
And I had to learn that. I had to learn that every song wasn't for, there's songs that you write that are just for you that nobody will ever hear.
Right.
Then there's songs that you write that are for you as an artist. And there's songs you write that are not for you, they're for other people. So when I did You're All I Need 15 years later and put it out as a single, everybody was like, we already thought that was a single. I said, that was never a single. It was never a single. And Bishop was going to put it on the Every Praise record because everybody thought I wrote Every Praise because it had almost the same format as You're All I Need. So people were like, man, congratulations. I was like, I didn't write Every Praise. But he was like, what, man? It sounds like You're All I Need. Sounds like something. I said, yeah, I didn't write that. I stopped many people. People like, man, congratulations, man. You won Song of the Decade. And I'm like, no, I didn't.
What's his name?
So
David.
Yeah, David Bratton. That's my big brother now. I'm locked in with him now. You know, he turned the Italy tour over to me last year. So, you know, that's big bro now. So, you know, and then God eventually linked everybody and linked us all up together, you know.
So I'm gonna do another random question because we've been kind of deep and you've been talking international.
Cool.
When traveling international, what was the food you discovered while touring internationally? Like, I really like this.
Can I do what I really liked and what I didn't like? Can I do
Okay,
both?
that's fine.
I think we were in Kenya. I was with Ron Canoli in Kenya, and we were at this restaurant. It was like one of them where they keep bringing out meat and you eating it, and they brought out meatballs, and I just thought they were regular meatballs. So I ate one, and it was so good, seasoned well. So I asked the dude, hey, man, can I have a couple more of them? Yeah. And not thinking that after I ate it, where I was at. And I stopped this. I said, oh, what is this? He said, it's ostrich. That's when I found out that, hey, maybe I like ostrich. What I don't like, 2 years ago, I was in Johannesburg, South Africa, and the people that brought us out there with my brother Stephen McWhirter, we went to a safari. It was really upscale, and they brought us out pot pies, like a regular pot pie with the carrots and them. So I'm thinking it's just a regular pot pie. I stick my fork in and pulled it out, and it was a snail.
Ooh.
Yeah. I ate it once and pushed it away, and that'd be the last time I ever eat a snail in my life. Nope,
So,
don't like the texture, don't like how it looks. None of it. Yeah, they can have them if somebody want them. If they want, if they want to take all the food away and get me real skinny, put snails out there because I won't be eating them. I'll be a vegetarian then.
you make your wife mad. You come home, what's for dinner? Snails.
Yeah, it should be like, oh, you done made that one up. Yeah,
Speaking of Stephen McWhirter, how do you pronounce his name?
yeah,
McWhirter.
McWhirter. Yeah.
McWhirter. Last year, 7,000 Promises. I fell in love with that 7,000. Man, I could not get, and I would literally be at work and the song would come on and I couldn't get out the car. It had that type of impact on me.
Wow, man.
How
Wow.
did the two of you end up connecting?
So I met Stephen before the pandemic hit. We were doing a kind of like a gospel CCM American Idol church here. It started one here, and we started doing that together. And when I met this tall guy with a red beard, I was like, man, he's cool. He was funny, and so right during when the pandemic hit, he was like, man, let's get together and write. And we had written something before that he had put out on one of his albums that did really well. And we just started writing together and singing these songs together. And man, we just start working, man, during the pandemic, and records start forming and songs start coming. And we was working on these songs together, and we just had a good gel, man. And we end up kind of saying, hey, well, let's kind of create a little group. So we started traveling and singing together, man. And then right when the pandemic kind of lifted up, I started kind of going my way. He started going his way. And we still friends and everything, man, and work with a lot of the same people. But, man, that was a great moment in time for us to just create some incredible songs together. Actually, right now, the CeCe Winans is nominated for the Come Jesus Come song. I was with him when he wrote it.
Wow.
I was with him when he wrote it. And she's nominated for a Grammy for that song right now. And Stephen McWhirter and his wife wrote that song.
What's the story behind 7,000 Promises?
Man, it's funny. I said it. I probably owe my pastor some publishing, because when I wrote Better, it was on a Wednesday night Bible study while my pastor was preaching. When I wrote You're All I Need, it was on a Wednesday night Bible study while he was preaching. And 7,000 Promises. One day he was preaching. He was like, man, there's over 7,000 promises in the Bible. And I put that title in my phone and put it in parentheses, song. So when Better hit, I was going back and forth to Nashville writing with a lot of CCM writers. And two of the biggest CCM writers in CCM music, Tony Wood and what's the other guy's name? I can't think of the other guy's name. He works with a whole bunch of people. I can't think of his name. Tony Wood, though. I walked into a room at Integrity Music Writing, and they was like, you got any ideas? I said, well, yeah, man, my pastor said this years ago, that there's over 7,000 promises in the Bible. And they both looked at me. I was like, what made you think of that? I said, man, my pastor did, and I had that title in my phone for years. And that day in Integrity Music, we wrote that song, not knowing that 4 years later, I would end up dropping it as a single.
I got to tell you, man, that's one song that literally, anytime I hear it, like, it takes me straight to worship. It takes just to know that there's over 7,000 promises, and that God is not going to fall short on neither one of his promises.
None of them. It can't return to him void.
Right.
And I don't think people pay attention to how many promises are being said in a verse. He said you be the head and not the tail. He said you be above and not beneath. He said you be the lender and not the borrower. Those are promises.
Those are promises.
And those are different promises in one verse, one or two verses. He's like, man, you picked me up from basketball practice. Come on.
I discovered you in 2000 when you released Creator with the Atmosphere Changes. What was your vision behind the Atmosphere Changers?
Let me tell you what's crazy. The Atmosphere Changers stemmed from my youth choir at my church. I had back in 2006 and 7, my pastor gave me the youth choir at church, and I would do themes and stuff every fourth Sunday, have them dress up like used car salesmen or slaves, or it was crazy. I would do all types of stuff and find gospel music that fit into that format. And we would just change church. I've had them dancing and everything. There's videos on YouTube. They're called the Voices of Praise of the St. Stephen Church. And they grew on a Sunday morning. I probably had the biggest youth choir in the country on a Sunday morning for 10 plus years straight, over 200 young people in the choir stand.
Wow.
Yeah. And so as they got older, I kept a remnant of them together. And when the choir got a little smaller, my pastor shut it down for a minute so that we could reboot. And so I took a cluster of them and started the Atmosphere Changers. Because I would always tell them when we would go to different cities as the church choir that, man, every time y'all go into a room, y'all shift the atmosphere.
Mm.
I would always say that. Y'all, it don't matter who get up. It was choirs getting up from New York and Philly and Detroit and everywhere. And when these young people would get up, all of them choirs, them adult choirs would be sitting there like, and they always shifted the room. So not realizing that years later, I was getting ready to work on another record. I said, I'm going to keep this group together, and I'm going to call them the Atmosphere Changers. And that's how it started.
And the Atmosphere Changers have put out some great, great music. You've talked about collabs.
Yeah.
A lot of times in gospel music, we don't see a lot of collabs, but you have changed that. Otis Kemp, Jason Nelson, Jovanta Patton, who, because of him, I was able to connect with you.
Oh, yeah.
Your latest single, whatever it is, with Melvin Crispell III. What is it about collabs that excites you?
Just think, let me tell you what, this is it. And I ain't trying to be deep, man. One can chase 1,000, but two can chase 10,000, man. I just feel like when we get together with another gift that is anointed and that has the gift to shift the room or change the room, man, or has an impact on the gospel music culture, when you bring two different vibes together that can come together and create something beautiful, I just think, and I feel like we were late on it. You know, the hip hop game and R&B game was doing it forever.
And
you
CCM.
Know, and CCM, same thing. And so I think that's what's fun for me, is bringing two different sounds together, and people be like, man, we didn't think y'all would do a song together. And this whole record I'm working on right now is that.
And so I'm looking on Instagram recently under Jason Clayborn, and I see something about early morning.
So, look, we from the Midwest, man. And Black people, we don't talk every morning. I was like, man, God been doing that for me every morning. I get up every morning. Don't nobody say every morning. I get up every morning and do that. I know from Kentucky, we take some of them consonants out and we keep that. I said, man, the Lord been good to me every morning. And Donald Lawrence told me this: always keep the word of God in the songs, because that's what's going to last. So if you've ever paid attention to any of my material, I always have references to the word. Always. Always. So yeah, man, every morning me and Pastor Mike, man, is dropping in on February the 6th. And man, people could say we look alike, man. I guess my twin, man. And it's funny. Let me tell you what's crazy. I was there at the Gospel Music Museum concert when James Fortune brought Pastor Mike out for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I was at that concert in Chicago.
Wow.
And backstage, we're walking. And I was like, what's up, bro? I spoke to him. I was like, what's up, man? He was like, hey, man, what's your name, man? was like, Jason Clayborn. He said, man, somebody thought I was you in the airport on the way here. They stopped me, yelling me down the hallway like, Jason Clayborn. He turned around. He's like, man, who is that? And that's how we got cool.
Because y'all look like each other.
And we've been cool ever since. I wrote on his second album, man. We've been boys ever since, man. And I stayed cool with him, man, behind the scenes, man, to just kind of guide him too, to let him know, man, don't get discouraged, man. God had something incredible for you, man. And we end up now, we putting a song out together.
God has really blessed his ministry. I think he's like won the most stellar awards at this point, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, but what I admire about him, I was at the Stellars a couple of years ago when he won. The way that he delivers the word of God, even in his thank yous, I'm like, man, this is blowing away. But the other thing that I admire about you and about him, you all know how to reach this generation. You know how to reach, you know how to reach this culture of young people coming up in gospel music.
Yeah.
How important to you that you can collab with someone that understands this culture of church?
I love it because he saw in me what was in him. And I just told him, we were riding in the car in the old school on the way to the next part of the video shoot. I said, hey, man, I'm going to just be 100. I'm the non-preaching version of you. And he looked at me. He's like, you are right, bro. You know, I said, but the Lord, I just watched the Lord change. He said, and he understands his call. He's a preacher first. He said his preaching has helped his music, which now his music is drawing more people to his preaching. And so he understands his call, and man, us being able to collab, and I'm the first male he's collabed with in gospel music.
Wow.
If you really look at the trajectory of who he's worked with, he hasn't worked with any other males in gospel music. I'm the first male in gospel that he's done a song with.
Yes, he did Kiera.
Yep. He's done Adia. I'm not talking about the people in his camp.
Yeah.
He did a remix with Lisa Knowles and the Brown Singers, but he hasn't worked with any other male artist in gospel music. I'm the first.
So you mentioned, so is this project a collab project that you're going to put out?
No. It's just collab one song.
Okay.
I got other gems on the way.
So when can we expect the full project?
Probably early summer. I'm thinking about dropping it around my birthday, maybe May 30th, maybe the middle of the year. But you know, we'll see what the Lord says. But I got another banger coming in the next 3 or 4 months that I'm gonna drop with me and Dietrich and my wife. So,
man, Dietrich is my brother.
Man, I'm one of the biggest Dietrich Haddon fans. I've watched his ministry and followed it. And what's crazy is my wife is his biggest fan. So for me to be able to put her on a song with one of her favorite artists of all time, and for me to even just have a song with Dietrich is blowing my mind right now. I can't even fathom it. So I can't wait. We shooting the music video in the next 2 or 3 weeks, man. And I'm excited.
That's a Dietrich. We all grew up PAW.
Okay.
In Detroit, so we all ran together. So
okay, cool. I've
watched him from a young person. I always tease him. He had a group that's called the Rapture Brothers. I think that was the name of the group.
Okay.
So I watched him grow. I remember when VOU first started, you know, being on radio and being a part of the same organization. That is my friend. I mean, Dietrich is great people, man.
Man, it's so funny how God turns things around full circle, because when I was with the Righteous Riders, I never forget, we were at Bishop Ellis's church for the Kellogg's choir competition when they used to do those. And he threw me the mic and I was singing on a song, and he grabbed the mic from me when he heard my voice and asked, because we had the same management at the same time. Veril Howard she was managing the Riders and she was managing him. and he asked Vero, "Man, where they find dude at?" And Vero came to us, was like, "Ooh, Dietrich asked about you." Was like, "Where they find you at?" And now, years later, man, we got a song together, man. So I'm excited, man, for how the Lord turns things around. One of my favorites of all time, top 5.
So we know that you got music coming. What else is on the agenda? What else is next for Jason Clayborn?
I'm writing a couple books, producing some records for some people. And my pastor said this today, and I'm going to continue to do this. As the Lord blesses you and opens up doors for you, you're supposed to open up doors and share with the Lord and bless other people. So got a lot of overseas traveling to do, and work to do overseas in different countries, and more collabs, man, writing, producing, and you're going to see me producing a lot more records. Not just writing, but fully producing the whole record for people in the next couple of years.
So where's the next family vacation?
I think we're gonna go somewhere for my birthday. Around my birthday time, we're gonna do an island somewhere where we can get on some hot beach and some water. You know, that's the next big trip.
People don't understand the calmness of laying out on a beach half naked.
Man, listen, I tell them, hey, listen, it's the best. I say, you better go travel. You got to take time for yourself, people. Take time for yourself. It's important. It's going to help your creativity later on down the line.
Creators, we need that stop. Where, like you said, you can just lay on the beach. I love falling asleep on the beach, Jason.
Me too.
The calmness of the ocean, just to be there.
You wake up and be like, where am I at? Yeah, man. Yeah.
So how can people follow you on social media? How can they contact you, and how can they get your music?
So yes, if you want to contact me, you can just go to jasonclayborn.com. You can learn about me, my ministry, all the music that I have. If you want to follow me on social media, I'm at Jason Clayborn 44 on Instagram, Jason Clayborn Music on TikTok and on Facebook. Man, I'm easily accessible, man, and Carl, I can't wait for us to do something together, man. I'm excited.
Oh man, don't have me down in Louisville, because there's a barbecue place in Louisville. I think it's called Mama's.
Okay. Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
I'm a foodie.
And I'll take you. I'm gonna take you to some other places. You know, we the number, I think 2 or 3 for the most mom and pop food places in the country.
So if you look on my social media page, I travel to eat.
We don't get along perfectly. I'm the same way. I love finding good food, man.
Like I found out about Mama's because I was watching Triple D and Guy Ferrari went there. So like I was traveling back from somewhere, like I got to stop here and eat. I think when I went, I think I might have did burn-ins or something like that, but I got to come back and get some ribs.
Come on back and then
man,
come on, spend the weekend and we'll have a good time.
I would love to collab with you, man. We would definitely come down and hang out, or maybe get you up to Detroit and we get me, you, and Bishop Woods together.
I'd love to, man. Let's do it. I would love to, man. I'm honored, man. And thank you so much for having me, man.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Anytime.
Before we wrap up, because I know the young man ready to go home, give advice to a young writer or artist about the importance of staying true to who they are.
Man, listen, find your niche. It's okay to listen to people. Some of my favorite people are John P. Key and Daryl Coley and Andre Crouch and Bishop Hezekiah Walker and Ricky Dillard. Find people you can glean from, but find the niche that the Lord is giving you and stay true to it. Even when people don't understand it, even when people are like, man, what is that? You gotta be true to who the Lord has created you to be, for he's created us all in his image and he's given us all something special individually. So find that thing that the Lord has given you and tap into that thing. And then as you tap into it, apply the word and prayer and spending time with the Lord so that he can guide you through what those seasons look like. There's different seasons, and you want to make sure that your tree is planted by the rivers of water that bring forth fruit in season and out of season, and whatsoever you doeth shall prosper. Psalms 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in that law does he meditate both day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water to bring forth fruit in season and out of season, and whatsoever he does shall prosper. Get planted, find a church home, find a covering that can pour into you. And even when you don't like everything, make sure you're paying attention to God and not your flesh. Don't move until the Lord tells you to move.
Don't move to the cloud, move.
Please stay planted. Stay in where the Lord has you, because there's more that he's trying to teach you. Even in the seasons where it's not a whole bunch of fruit on the tree. You might see one apple up there and you're like, oh my God, I got to go find this other, got to take my tree up and go plant. Stay planted. Stay rooted. Because that river's going to flow and some nutrients are going to come back around and that tree's going to flourish again. So stay planted, stay focused, and stay close to the Lord so that he can give you, so you can hear clearly what he is saying for whatever generation that he wants you to touch.
Jason Clayborn, man, I'm so glad God allowed us to connect.
Me
Seriously,
too.
man, I am a fan of your music. I think it was Tamil Curtis that first started talking about you.
Yeah, that's my sis.
Yeah, and she was talking about Jason Clayborn, and that's how I discovered your music, and I have been in love with your music ever since then. I'm so thankful that we've had this opportunity to talk, and I'm looking forward to our future together. Even if we just go out and eat, we may not write nothing.
Oh yeah. No, listen, we're gonna eat, we're gonna write, we're gonna have a good time, man.
But man, again, thank you so much for stopping by the Carl B. Phillips Show.
No problem, man.
Remind everybody to subscribe to the Carl B. Phillips Show. You can subscribe on YouTube, the podcast outlet. I always like to close my show by saying this. Remember to work like you don't need the money, love like you've never been hurt, and dance like no one's watching you. And remember, God is, you're all I need. I'm not saying that. God bless you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. God bless you, man. Love you.
Love you too.
The Carl B. Phillips Show is produced by Carl B. Phillips for Prove Me Productions. For more information about Carl B. Phillips, visit carlbphillips.com. Subscribe to The Carl B. Phillips Show on YouTube or your favorite podcast outlet.